Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Dramatic Knits podcast. My name is Steve, and you can find me on Ravelry as Dramatic Knits and Instagram as Leading Men Fiber Arts. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more time. Hopefully, if you're watching on YouTube, you're giving that thumbs up and subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. It has been a hot minute since I've recorded the last time, but boy, do I have a parade of finished objects to show you. I have been busy knitting, and not doing as much traveling as anticipated. So just a quick recap of the last month or so. Unfortunately, last month, I got the COVID. Yep, it happened. So I had to quarantine and all that fun jazz. Luckily, hopefully, because I'm vaccinated and boosted, it was not that bad. It's kind of just like a cold for me. But I was utterly exhausted the first couple of days. I think I slept till like 1:30 in the afternoon the first day. And yeah, lots of rest and back to normal now. So we're good. On that end. But yeah, so last time we spoke, I was getting ready to go to the, what is it called? Great Lakes Fiber Show in Worcester, Ohio. Hopefully not, but after that is when I tested positive for COVID. So I think I might have gotten it there, but that was a decent show for us. Unfortunately, it does not look like we will be returning in the future to that event. There was some disagreements over use of our booth space, and so we have decided that it's not an event that we are going to be returning to. But if you're Ohioan and you came out and saw us, we greatly appreciate it. We don't have any shows on the docket for Ohio right now, but you can check out your local yarn stores in Ohio for our product. And if your LYS does not carry Leading Men Fiber Arts, you can always ask them to reach out to us and open an account, and we'd be glad to work with them. So got COVID after that. And then the next week was the Hoosier Hills Fiber Festival in Franklin, Indiana. Unfortunately, due to me being sick, Andy had to vend at that by himself. And he said it was a good event. He enjoyed meeting everybody that came out. And if you were there, thank you so much. And then the following week after that, Andy drove to Estes Park, Colorado by himself. I was never intended to go because we went to Interweave Yarn Fest in Loveland, Colorado earlier in the spring, and I told him I would drive to one of the Colorado events. So he decided to do Estes, and he was supposed to go with his mom. Unfortunately, due to me having COVID, we did not want her coming to the house prior to the event, and we didn't want to take the risk of her or him getting sick. He tested negative before he left, so he was good to go. And he did the whole 15-hour drive there and vended and drove the entire 15 hours back in one day in one shot. I think he's a little crazy. But I think he just really wanted to be home and back to normalcy. So another good event out there. Got to see some of our friends, some of the Colorado local yarn stores that carry us, and what have you. So we've actually had the last week off. So we had this weekend off. Andy took some time off yesterday and a few other days to kind of recuperate from driving. But this weekend coming up, we are actually going to be driving to Rochester, Minnesota for the Zombie Knitpocalypse retreat. So we will be vending at their market in the morning. It is for attendees only, but the market is open from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Doubletree in Rochester, Minnesota. And then the following day on Sunday, we are going to be driving up to Northfield Yarn in Northfield, Minnesota, and we are going to be doing a trunk show at their store from noon to 4 p.m. And we're excited to essentially kill two birds with one stone. So they said, hey, while you're out here, do you want to stop by the store and do a quick event? And I will be doing a Q&A session about our business from 1 to 2 at Northfield Yarn, so that's exciting as well. But really, other than that, I've been enjoying some downtime at home. I've been, recharging, getting a lot of knitting done, focusing on the business and things that need to happen on that end. So that's pretty much been about the last month. Nothing exciting on my end. I mean, LMFA has been all over, but not me personally. So anyway, let's get into the parade of FOs that I have for you today. So the first things I want to show you are my Crossroads socks. These are actually knit for Andy. And these were knit using Knitterly Things Vesper sock yarn in the Crossroads colorway, and then a Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper Mini in the Darkest Hour colorway. And they are self-striping. I did Afterthought heels and did the contrasting cuff, heel, and toe. So these are done. Not that he's going to be wearing them in the summer, but these will be a fresh pair for his sock drawer. And yeah, I made these pretty much match exactly. And they're washed and blocked. Again, I knit my socks on 2 circulars. And so those are those. They've been sitting here for a while waiting to show you. So the next thing I finished was a shop sample that was knit as part of our Create and Collaborate Club at the LMFA store. We meet every other Tuesday for 3 months, focusing on a project. Our next Create and Collaborate is going to be announced this week, and this time we are going to be focusing on a specific designer. We have not narrowed down which designer yet. We have to take a few more votes from people in the club currently, and I will be announcing that later this week. But that club will be from July through September. But this current one, we were knitting the Maritimo Tee by Caitlin Hunter. And so here's mine. And you can see a little pooling and flashing where I was not alternating skeins, but I left it in there to show people why you should alternate skeins for best practices. And the one other change that I did was I did the collar ribbing in the purple contrast color because I did not have enough of the main body color to do the collar. So I had plenty of that raspberry color, and so I decided to do that. So the main color, this is all knit out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper. The main color is called Notorious, which is based off of our social coordinator, Amy, who is Notorious Amy on Instagram. And then the first contrasting color is Raspberry Parfait. And then the second one, the kind of gray blue, is Fortune Teller. So yeah, couldn't be happier. I would say Caitlin Hunter's gauge is very, very loose. Most of the people in the club went up a needle size or 2 to get her gauge. I did not. I like the gauge of this fabric, but it is not as loose as the pattern. So this is a double XL out of 3XL, and this probably does not measure the actual sizing that it needs to measure in order to be a double XL. But that being said, and I also shortened the sleeves by about 2 inches because the way the pattern is written, you extend the sleeve based on the size you're knitting. And I don't know about you, but if I'm bigger here, it doesn't make my arms longer. So one of the people in the club knit to the, what it said in the pattern, and it didn't come out like a t-shirt. It came out at like elbow length t-shirt. So, which is not, how it was featured. So it's got a feather and fan detail in the lace motifs. And overall, it was a pleasurable experience, and I'm excited to start traveling with that here soon. It's been blocked, photographed. It's just been waiting to chit-chat with you all and show that off. So that's that. Let me bring up my notes again. All right, then, but wait, there's more. I finished the Mendia cowl. This is by Amba O'Brien. And I used 2 skeins of Western Sky Knits, Tweed DK in a charcoal colorway. It was actually not labeled, but I'm calling it charcoal. And I did alternate these skeins just to make sure, because as you can see, there is like a gold undertone to it And I did notice some variations between the two skeins, but you can't tell when you alternate. So, yeah. So this has a cool twisted lace motif. And, taking my glasses off. I got new contacts and I wore them for 3 days and I cannot get them out of my eyes. So I haven't worn them in over a week. I've never had issues not being able to actually grab the contact to take it out. So I don't know. If you have any hints, leave me a comment below. But I have thought about, I've seen like the little suction cup things you can buy on Amazon. I'm like, is that going to do the trick? I don't know. So anyway, I've gone back to wearing glasses for a hot minute. But yeah, it's a nice size. It's not too tight, but not like an infinity cowl. You can easily fold it over and close up in the winter time. It also probably wouldn't be too warm if you don't want it to be because of that eyelet mesh in there. And yeah, so this is probably going to be on the charity raffle drive at the Knitting at the Estate retreat, which, by the way, we do have 7 offsite spots still available if you're interested in joining us at our annual retreat held at the Allerton Retreat Center in Monticello, Illinois. You can check out our website, knittingattheestate.com, and from there you can click the sign up link and it'll take you to our event registration page. From there you can also see the teachers, the vendors, and our sponsors. We're getting donations already for door prizes, goodie bag items, and things of that nature. So we're super excited to be in the planning stages of Kate 2022. And yeah, and this was knit on a size 6 US, which is a 4mm needle. Excuse me. And so I didn't use the full 2 skeins, but a good deal of them. I think I used about a skein and a half of DK for this cowl. And that one was off the needles. Next up, I decided last weekend, I believe, or 2 weekends ago, that I was done with my colorful linen stitch blanket by Helena Cat. I was crocheting this using 2 strands of fingering weight held double and marling them. And I don't think there's a good way to really show you the whole thing. I can show you, I don't even know which one was the last row. I can show you my little stitch marker from where I was. I got that much farther since the last time you've seen it. I can show you the width. I do need to weigh this to give an approximate yardage to this. So, and then here's the blanket. It does go from about the floor to my head. I did not do any color management. That was the best showcase of this blanket, wasn't it? But it's going to be nice. I don't know if we're going to use it here or if I might possibly gift it to Andy's mom for Christmas because she said she liked my last scrap blanket that I did. Now this is different, but she is a very cold-blooded woman, so she likes to be warm all the time, so I think this would be good. So that blanket is done. All right, next up I finished another pair of socks. These are some sport weight socks. These are my Davy Jones Locker socks. This yarn is from Fiber Nymph Dye Works on our Traveler base, which is I think an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon in the Davy Jones Locker colorway. They are off by about 1 stripe, but I could not waste any yarn. Because it's sport weight, I did not do a contrasting cuff heel and toe because we don't carry sport weight minis in our shop and our sport weight does not have nylon. So I just knit them straight out. I had about 6 grams of yarn left after knitting these. I was kind of gauging. I went up to a size 2 needle, which is a 2.75 millimeter needle. Again, knit on 2 circs. And I did about 10 rounds of 2x2 ribbing at the top again, the same as what I usually do. But I only did 60 or 50 more rounds of stockinette, and then I put in my waist yarn for the Afterthought heel. And then I did 60 rounds down the foot, and I then did my toe and went back and put in my Afterthought heels using the same yarn. So there's my Davy Jones locker socks. These ones are for me. Hooray. All right, then I also knocked out a hat. I knit the Bankhead hat, and this is by Susie Gorley, and I use Dreaming Color Dreaming Color Classy in the Strange Harvest colorway. I think I've had this for like 8 years, ever since an old local yarn store closed down. And I did the large, which I have a 24-inch head, and this one fits me just fine. It's got just a little bit of slouch, and I couldn't be happier with it. Again, probably going to be donated. I don't think I need another hat unless Andy wants it. He hasn't confirmed whether he wants it or not. This was knit on a size 7 US or 4.5 millimeter needle, and it is a free pattern. Super easy. Nothing to it. You've got some, I think it's twisted ribbing down here. And then you just have this knit and purl stitch and then knit all around, alternating those 2 rows. And then it's a quick decrease at the top. And it was nice to get another skein of yarn out of my stash. So working through some stash lately. And then my last project, I just seamed this morning. I knit another shop sample, and this is the Pop and Lock Cowl by Lisa K. Ross, also known as Paper Daisy Creations. And this is knit like a small shawl, and then you seam it to make it into a cowl. And I used Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in Darkest Hour, and then Showstopper Intermission in our June colorway of the month, which is called Snow Cone, and it is a rainbow speckle. And this is done with garter eyelets and then some mosaic knitting. And there we go. So you can see the stripes there, and then the mosaic piece down here. And hopefully I'll be able to kit this up. We're working on getting patterns printed, but we're not sure if that's going to be a possibility as of right now, but we can at least do yarn sets or have it as a sample and help people select yarns. You really, I ended up not using as much yarn as said in the pattern. I only really needed a half skein of the black and like a mini skein of the Snow Cone, but I did use what the pattern called, and I used the full skein for the black and a half skein for the contrasting color. And I really like the drape on it. It blocked out beautifully. It looked very small when it was done. And then you mattress stitched the back. Didn't do the best job on that, but it's not horrible. And so that's the Pop and Lock by Lisa Ross. So was happy to get a new sample done up with a new colorway relatively quickly. And I love me some mosaic knitting. Super easy. So those are all my finished objects. Just a quick 7 of them, you know, nothing really to write home about, but it's been it's been a hot minute since I've sat down and chatted with you all. So I have been busy. So, all right, let's talk about what's performing. I only have 2 things currently on the needles. And the first one is the Local Yarn Shawl by Casa Pinka. I'm using Manos del Uruguay Alegria in Candombe and Natural. Here's the Candombe, bright neon rainbow. And hey, it's natural. And let me see if I can pull out a picture. This is back from like 2018 or 19. Before we owned a store, we were doing a trunk show up in Michigan at a shop that is no longer in business, unfortunately. 2018. So it's over 2 years old. It has two sizes, a 1 color or a 2 color. I'm doing the 2 color. And I just started with the 2nd color, which is the natural. I just added 2 rows before I packed it up at work and headed this way. So it's a boomerang shape with some garter eyelet and some seed stitch rows. Start with a small cast on number. And now I'm going into a lace section with the natural. This is knit on a size 6 US 4mm needle. And yeah, I'm excited to see it work up. I was doing a lot with sport, DK, and worsted, so it's nice to get back to my jam of fingering weights. So that's going. I'm going to work on that some more this evening once I'm done chatting with y'all. And then yesterday I started a new pair of socks again for Andy, and I'm using some Mustache Yarns. Excuse me, I don't know if it's her tough sock or her normal sock base. I got this many years ago when she was a little harder to get a hold of, and I think I was part of her summer concert series that year. So I got 3 skeins, I think. But this is called Dark Side of the Moon. And she has them skeined up in 2 perfectly matched half skeins. And the way they started, there was orange and then the red. And then I went into this. And I didn't want to, I wasn't sure how it was going to stripe up. So I didn't want to like disrupt that. So I just started at the first color change to make sure that I was exactly on. I am using Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in Don't Fear the Reaper for the cuff, heel, and toe. And I'm knitting these on a size 1 US 2.25mm needle. So you can see it's got that beautiful rainbow, quick rainbow surrounded by black and this white stripe of light gray. So I think I'm at 60 rounds out of 80 on the leg. So I got some good work done on that yesterday. Andy's excited for these ones, so I'm sure they will zoom right off the needles. So that's what I'm working on currently, just those 2 things. I am spinning still some Honey Gold Acres Merino in the Gradient C12 colorway. I am close to finishing the singles, then I've got to chain ply it to keep that gradient effect, but hopefully, maybe next episode, we'll see. No pressure though. And then I've done a little side crafting. I am working cross-stitch wise on Modern Folk Embroideries 2021 stitch along called Fruits O' Plenty. This is the kind of finishing up the top row. This is month 3 out of 12. I've been working on this for over a year, but you can see the progress that I have made. I am stitching this 2/2 using 2 colors of DMC, and I am stitching this on a 32, 36 count Belfast linen from Picture This Plus in the colorway Tycho. And it's going. I didn't work on it for a hot minute and been slowly getting back into it. And then I made some progress on my latch hook piece, which is called Fox in the Moonlight, I believe. It's a Hirschner's kit. I am almost done with the second to last row. I can't see everything. So there you go. Got more of the moon behind him. You can see more of the fox, the branch with the leaves. So that's done, or going to be done soon-ish. All right, let's move into In the Spotlight. What have I been watching and reading? This is not everything. Reading before I forget, I finished The Oracle. I listened to this on Audible. don't remember the author's name. I can tell you it is narrated by Joshua Jackson, who played Pacey on Dawson's Creek, as well as being on Fringe and a number of other things. I thought it was pretty good. It was, if you're an Audible member, it is free. There is a second one, a second sequel. There's a sequel to it. But he's the only narrator in the first one. In the second one, I listened to a preview of it at the end of the book, and it's more like a radio play with more sound effects and different characters voicing the different actors. So I may give it a listen at some point. Basically, the premises of this is that the main character's name, I can't even remember his name, sorry, I finished it like over a week ago. He is essentially haunted by some entity, and the entity has imbued powers of being able to speak through people and to speak with the dead. And this has been happening ever since he was a child. And now he is a consultant for the FBI to find missing persons and uses his powers. But in the end, he has to go back home and face, his inner demons as well as those, haunting him. It was pretty good. We also watched the movie Old, which is directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Entertaining, but not anything to write home about. Andy finally, in season 42, got me to watch a season of Survivor. It actually was entertaining, and I was really happy with who won season 42 because it was who I was rooting for since day one, and I'm very glad that they won, and they played a good game. It wasn't just emotional or you wanting them to win because they're a good person. They actually did play a really good game of Survivor. Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've talked with you. We finished The Masked Singer. Can only do it for so many seasons, and before you're like, I don't know who most of these people are. I watched The Flight Attendant, both seasons. This is on HBO Max. It stars Haley Kiyoko, however you say her name. Might know her from Big Bang Theory. She did a really good job. It was an entertaining series. I'm not sure if there's a season 3 or not, but basically she is a flight attendant who is an alcoholic and stumbles upon some espionage type things in the first season and has to find her way out of it. And then in season 2, she's recruited by the CIA to be a civil informant, and again, not everything goes to plan there, so you can check that out. Hacks season 2 came out on HBO. We love that show. It was pretty clear from the end of season 2 that is the end of the series, which I think is actually a good thing. I think it's good when shows realize that they should end on a really good, strong note and not try to force more content than there needs to be. So that stars Jean Smart, who is absolutely wonderful. I watched the movie The Lost City, which is with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. Again, nothing to write home about, but it was entertaining. So there's that. I finished all 4 seasons of Good Girls on Netflix. My sister told me to watch it. I had a hard time with it the whole time. I was just like, come on. No one makes these stupid decisions and continues to do them, and I wasn't happy with the ending. And there was a lot of questions with several endings that I did not know what was going on. So take that as you may. And then also another movie I quickly watched the other day was Brahms, The Boy 2. This stars Katie Holmes. It is a sequel to The Boy, which is basically about a young boy being haunted and killing his family in this old mansion. And it's entertaining. It's on Netflix if you want to watch it. I like a good, not good, scary movie. So it was all right. I thought Katie Holmes actually did a decent job. And yeah, that's all that we've watched so much more, but this is all I've written down. So I won't bore you with more stuff than that. No stash enhancement. Andy did get me some fiber, but I have not photographed it. It's still at the studio when he was in Colorado. So I will show you that next time. But yeah, so just a reminder, if you're local or are traveling through, Leading Men Fiber Arts does do craft nights every Wednesday from 5 to 8 and crafternoons every Saturday from 1 to 4. We do have 3 make-alongs going on in the Leading Men Fiber Arts Ravelry group. Those are constantly changing and rotating. So, sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. Check those out. There's coupon codes, there's prizes, all good stuff there. And then, like I talked about, we do have some upcoming shows. So we are going to be at the Zombie Apocalypse this weekend, as well as the Northfield Yarn Trunk Show. And then we have 2 weekends off to really prep. And then we are going to be in Chicago twice for 2 different trunk shows. We're going to be at Yarnify on Saturday, July 16th. And then we're going to be at Sisters Arts Studio on Saturday, July 30th. We'll also be in Nashville at the Super Summer Knit Together on Saturday, July 23rd. And then we have another trunk show at Village Yarn Company in Zionsville, Indiana on August 6th. So we have a show this weekend, 2 weekends off, and then 4 weekends of busy. So, other big news about shows, we did get into India Untangled this year, so we will be vending at India Untangled, which is a precursor event to Rhinebeck. There are several precursor events now, but we will be at India Untangled vending there. So if you are interested, you can go to indiauntangled.com to purchase tickets. They are time-slotted tickets so that the event does not get crowded or overwhelmed. And it is in a new location that it was in last year. We were not there last year, but we're back again this year. This is our 3rd time at India Untangled, and not sure whether we're going to be at Rhinebeck proper or not. It just depends. We do have SAF, which is the Southeastern Animal Fiber Festival, the weekend after. And last time we drove from Rhinebeck straight down to SAF. It depends on if we need to come home and pick up more yarn, if there's things we need to do as to whether we are going to go to Rhinebeck or not. So we'll see. Or if any of my indie dyer friends or things like that are going to be at Rhinebeck, then maybe we could be persuaded to go. But if it's just Andy and I, he doesn't really enjoy being there on Saturday. It is not like a fun shopping, walking around type thing because it is so crowded on Saturday. So he would probably do like Sunday. I don't know. We'll just have to play it by ear and see what's going on. But other than that, that's all I have for you this episode. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Again, subscribe, like, join the Dramatic Knits and Leading Men Fiber Arts Ravelry group. You can follow me as Leading Men Fiber Arts on Instagram, and we do have a Leading Men Fiber Arts Facebook group as well. If you are local, you can join the Leading Men Local Crafters group on Facebook, where we talk about things that are happening locally or reminders of events. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below on YouTube and I will do my best to answer them. And until I see you again, which will hopefully be soon, I hope you make something dramatic.